So it's Saturday of my trip. I'm about halfway through it, you might say. If we cut off the Metaphysics Colloquium, maybe a third of the way through it if we include the Metaphysics Colloquium, which runs till next Thursday. And I am in the Institute. It turns out that they are having a special opening, in part because today is Alumni Day. So there's a lot of alumni on campus, and some of them are going to visit the library. I'm keeping the door open, which is normally closed and locked for the special collections, because I think some of them may come in here. I've already talked with the head librarian, who has informed me that people might actually ask me some questions about what I'm doing, and so I told them I'd be very happy to talk to them about the Institute, about the special collection, even perhaps, suggest to them that they donate, because money's got to be used for something. It may as well be used for something like this that really, benefits scholarship, and a little bit goes a very long way when it comes to this compared to other sorts of enterprises. So I'm going to get some work done on these dissertations. I uploaded a number of photos, released the video from yesterday, and now I'm going to hunker down and get to what work I can. Partly going through these dissertations for the project that they set for me, and partly because of the ones that I'm particularly interested in that bear on research projects dealing with Anselm that I myself am writing on, like, the ones that have to do with the will or justice or anything like that. So that's what we've got going on today. All right, it's the night of day 4. I have been getting some productive work done here in the apartment. You're probably going to hear some noise coming through because there's people staying here over Alumni weekend. Alums of Saint Anselm's, makes good sense. They had a lot of cool stuff going on for them today, and I think a lot of these are younger people. They have a lot of tramping and yelling and shouting and laughing and stuff like that, which used to bother me, but now I realize since last night it really doesn't, in part I think because I look back on my own college years and how I did exactly the same sort of thing and didn't really, what would I have done if I knew that there was some older professor next door who was a visiting scholar. Probably not cared that much, and I didn't actually. We probably made life hell for the people who were stuck dealing with us. So in any case, got some good work done today. I went to the library, got some reading done. I actually had something kind of cool happen. One of the dissertations that I was reading was really great, and it was by this guy, Taddeo Ferrara, who was a Jesuit, and I wanted to see if he was still alive. His dissertation was from, I think, 1970-something, so I thought probably not. He'd have to be really young to write it then. Turns out, actually, I found his obituary. He died in 1987, 61 years old, and he was a philosophy teacher. He taught philosophy at a bunch of different places, and then went on to earn his doctorate. He wrote a really great dissertation about Anselm and reason and intellect and all these sorts of things. So that was a lot of fun to do that. I spent a lot of the day working on Anselm-related papers that I've got going, and managed to bring something that I've had long hanging for a while to fruition and get that sent to somebody. Did some reading in St. Thomas preparatory for my working on my piece on anger and leadership for this upcoming conference. And now, I also did some work on Epicurean philosophy. Got to read some stuff of Philodemus that they had in the library. Turns out that he actually wrote these little short, 6-line, sometimes 8-line poems, a lot of which had to do with, what we might call typical issues of pleasure for a fairly young to middle-aged man. A lot of really cool stuff in those. And I found one that actually did have to do with anger, so I'm going to incorporate that into the talk that I'm working on for next Saturday. Tonight, the rest of the night, it's 9 o'clock now. I think I'm probably going to work another hour or two on my presentation for next Saturday. I've got my Epicurean materials here, and so I'm going to flesh out the talk, the Epicurus portions, and if I get to it, the Philodemus portions, the Cicero portions as well, which are not actually Cicero so much as people Cicero knew, on the ends. And if I can get that done tonight, that means that I can start tomorrow essentially with a full day where I've got a couple projects off the docket, and I don't have to go to the library at all. I don't have to work on the dissertation stuff at all. I can just focus on the things that I came up here to work on. So if I can get this knocked out, that would really be a great help. So on Alumni Night, they have fireworks, and as soon as I heard them, I went out to the parking lot so I could watch them, and this is what I got to see. Nice little display. Right now we're getting towards the end of it, and there were quite a few kids out there as well, all sitting down on the grass. A few were adventurous and climbed up onto a container. So here we get some of the cool stuff going on. I've always loved fireworks since I was a kid. Actually, the 4th of July used to be my favorite holiday. I suppose if I was able to shoot off fireworks, it probably still would be. But I live in a state where we don't really get to do much of anything, and we only get to watch what other people do. But in any case, here you get to see what I got to see. I'm sharing a little bit of something that I really enjoyed with you. And if I'm not mistaken, pretty soon, yeah, there we go. We're getting close to the end. This is where they're starting to show off the really brilliant stuff. Pulling out the stops. All right, and now we are actually gearing up for, every fireworks show has to have a finale. There we go. So happy Alumni Day, Saint Anselm College. It's the afternoon of Sunday, which is day 5 of this trip. I've been taking it fairly easy so far today, but I've got quite a bit of work I'm going to have to do in a bit. So I slept in a bit, woke up, had some breakfast, went to Mass up at the chapel, which was very nice. Beautiful chapel, by the way. I'll see if I can take some good pictures or get some footage of the stained glass, which is something that always astounds me when I go into it. It's this, in a certain respect, non-representative or non-figurative stained glass artwork, but it's really quite beautiful, and the symbolism built into it is pretty interesting. It really works well as religious art. So came back down here and then called my wife, and we talked for quite a while. Then we actually FaceTimed because the animals are missing me. We've got two big and rather old dogs who are kind of set in their ways, and I spend most of my time working out of our home office. So the dogs are used to me being around, and now at least one of them is actually starting to mope quite a bit because I'm gone sometimes for 2 or 3 days, if there's a conference, but not usually this long. So maybe she thinks I'm totally gone. So we FaceTimed, and the dogs could hear me. I don't know if they can really see on a screen or not, and they got all worked up. And in any case, that took me to the afternoon, and since then I have been working on what I didn't finish up last night, which is my presentation on Epicureanism and anger. I'm still working on the notes for that, for the talk coming up next Saturday, just 7 days from now. And after I finish up with that, I'm debating about whether I want to turn my attention to the Thomas Aquinas and anger material that I've got to get worked up into a decent paper for the conference that's at the end of June, or whether I want to work on the Gabriel Marcel and Christian philosophy debate stuff, or whether I want to work on the Saint Anselm and prayer stuff. But I think what I'm going to do is get done with the Epicurean stuff and probably go out, do a little bit of last-minute shopping, and then come back here and settle in for a night of more work. Tomorrow is going to be a very busy day. I've got some interviews scheduled and a lot of work to do in the collection room itself, doing the reading of those various dissertations. I have to start producing the abstracts now, so now it's really go time. So I think I'll devote the morning to that, and then the afternoon and the evening, since the library will be open a bit later, I will devote to my own projects, which include the Anselm on Prayer paper that I'm working on, the Marcel stuff that I've gathered some work for, and the Thomas Aquinas piece. So I've got another 2 solid days of work after today before the Metaphysics Colloquium begins, and then my time will get really tight here, in a good way, because I'll be seeing a lot of old colleagues and perhaps meeting a few other new interesting people. It's a chance for me to find out what's going on in the field and perhaps make some decent contacts. You never know. Hand out some business cards. What else? That's really about it at this point. So I'll say more after I have gotten more done.